Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 10, DJI Avata 360 release date set. Hope everybody is doing well this evening. We got a house full here already, and then let's get this party started. RJ Redding, Bud Bieber, who else we got? Dee Dee Fellows, John Flynn. Welcome, John. Okay, good deal. All right. USA Drone Flyer, Joe, welcome. Good to see you. Get things started off tonight, okay? Now, March 10th, there are a number of famous people that are born on March 10th. Chuck Norris, okay? Carrie Underwood. Rod Woodson used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The most important person that was born on March 10th, let me share the screen here with you. If it will go this fast. As this handsome young gentleman right here, it's my oldest son, Will, and he turns 42 today. Yes, believe it or not. You know, you can tell me how old I am, and that, you know, Greg Pittman, welcome. You can tell me how old I am, and it doesn't bother me. But when you tell me that my oldest son is 42 years old, somehow that really kind of hits home. So, but God bless you, son. Very happy birthday to you. Hope you've had a great day today. I know you have to work, but hope your day went well. Hope you were able to spend time with those that mean a lot to you or around you, and enjoy the day. So very proud of you. So very blessed to be your father. So, but yeah. So if you get a chance to, out on Bill of Drone Reviewer Facebook group, I did post that this is where this is posting is from. Go out there and drop a happy birthday to him. I don't know if he'll see it or not, but if he does, I think that would help make his day. So if you could do that, I would really appreciate that. So, you know, South Florida Drone Meetup's coming up. I know. And Ray, I hope you're having a great time out in California. I know you're out there visiting your son. Hope you have a great visit out there and enjoy your time out there. I think the weather's pretty nice out there. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about right now. The weather here in Florida is, you couldn't ask for better right now. All right. It's been in the mid to low 80s each day. The humidity's not real high like it is in summer right now. So I think we're going to have some good weather for the drone meetup. Now, remember, that's the second weekend in April. It's not the first weekend in April. It's the second weekend in April, because the first weekend in April this year is Easter. So you don't make sure that you mark that down, and that you don't show up for the South Florida drone meetup at Jensen Beach a week early. You don't want to do that. So, but you need information. Go out. Ray has a group page out there for South Florida drone meetup. It'll give you everything you need to know, all the 411, including how to get there if you need directions on how to get there. Place the Hampton Inns, which I think they're still taking reservations. So go for it. There's going to be a great time. And if you're not familiar with it, Friday night there's a meet and greet and I forget the name of the place. Ray and he's one of the members of our group, owns a pool and pool, bowling, and billiards place. With a wonderful bar and some great pub food there, and gone there before. It's just wonderful. Have a great time. Saturday's the meetup. Usually everybody kind of gets there early. Runs from about maybe 8 in the morning till about 3 or so in the afternoon, and then in the evening have a dinner out at a restaurant in the area, and try to get everybody together. So that'll be fun. So but you know, and the best part about that, and the very best part about that day, and those of you who have been here know that, is just being able to talk to everybody. It's like, you know what, I can fly my drone anytime. You know, that's why, like during the meetup itself, I'll never fly a drone. Like on Sunday, if I stay, I'll probably go out and fly. But you know, on Saturday, my drone will probably be in the truck, but I'm not going to be bringing it out because I want to spend time talking to people and enjoying them and and seeing them, and just, it's so good to shake people's hands, talk to them, see how they're doing. This is a wonderful group. It's a wonderful group of people, and it's a great opportunity just to be there amongst others. And the best part about all this is there's no charge for this. Okay. I mean, seriously. And kudos to Captain Ray and Johnny and everyone else who puts in unbelievable amounts of effort and work in this. And kudos to everybody who's donated gifts for this. I know Ray has a boatload of gifts he's going to be giving away. So stay tuned. I know the number was over 100, maybe 125 or so have said they're going to be there. So look forward to it. It's a great day. I mean, even if you can only come for the day, do that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of it's a feel good kind of day. It really is. It really is. A piece of advice: if you're traveling, if like you're bringing your vehicle with you, maybe bring a lawn chair or something there, because they do have picnic tables and everything, but those seats get taken up real quick. So you may want to bring a chair with you, just as a FYI kind of a thing. So, but it's a lot of fun that day. So look forward to that. Hopefully you guys can get there. Dr. Ted, welcome. Michael Wright, welcome. Good to see you. Awesome. So, okay. Wish my son a happy birthday. That was the most important thing of the day here. Talked about the South Florida drone meetup, which that's coming up, and I wanted to get a plug in for that. So like I said, if you can get there, please do. It's a lot of fun. And you'll be amongst fellow drone flyers. We're just going to have a blast there. Okay. We're not going to worry about anything that's going on, with the FCC and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to be there. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy the day. So, and then I believe they take a group picture of us from a drone. So make sure you try to stay on hand for that. And I believe, if not, I think pizza was sponsored by somebody last year and the year before. So I'm pretty sure that something along those lines is gonna happen as well. I'll see if maybe we can get Ray on the next week or two, so he can provide some details and fill some things in for you guys, because I know it's important for all of you. So Ron's going to join me here in just a little bit. But one of the things, a couple things I wanted to talk about is there are actually a couple of other things to talk about, believe it or not. It's like, when there's not a lot of releases or activity, there's usually not a lot newsworthy going on. But there are a few items out there, and I want to go ahead and go over this one here first. Let's see here. My goodness, it is so slow coming up here. All right. DJI Mini 4 Pro Matrice 4 drones can create 3D models faster with this tool. And there's a new DJI app. It's called the brand new Flight app. It's one of the biggest updates yet for Skybrowse, and focuses on a simple goal: making it even faster and easier for drone teams to capture 3D models in real world operations. Okay. Mini 4 Pro, Matrice 4E, Matrice 4T, and Matrice 400. Smarter grid scanning, it talks about that. If you're interested, this article is pinned out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. So please feel free to go ahead and look at this at your leisure. I know that kind of stuff is not easy, and it's not really everyone's cup of tea. But for those of you who are interested in something like that, that's something that you definitely want to go ahead out there and explore for sure. You definitely don't want to miss something like this. Now, my experience with a certain drone brand was absolutely fantastic. And so much so, I think they've had such a positive feedback from their experience with their first drone that they released. They've gone ahead and they've released another one here. Now, this is going to blow your mind away. A sub $300 drone with obstacle avoidance, the Sky Rover S1. Okay. Yes, you heard that right. under $300 drone with obstacle avoidance, Sky Rover S1 here. All right. And I know, I'm pretty sure Marcus did a review on it. Drone features a 1/2-inch Sony sensor capable of capturing 48 megapixel photos and 4K video at 60 frames per second. That's pretty doggone good for an under $300 drone here, okay? Another standout feature is forward obstacle avoidance, something rarely seen in drones under $300. The front sensors help detect objects in the drone's path, reducing the risk of accidental crashes, especially helpful for first-time pilots who are still getting used to aerial controls. The S1 also includes smart flight modes such as subject tracking, waypoint navigation, and automatic return to home. These automated features allow beginners to capture dynamic aerial shots without needing advanced flying skills, okay? All of that in a sub 249 gram drone, priced under $300, is what's making the aircraft stand out, okay? Sky Rover also backs the S1 with US-based customer support, warranty coverage, and a 30-day replacement policy, giving buyers added confidence when trying a newer brand. For drone shoppers who want DJI-style capabilities without paying DJI prices, the Sky Rover S1 may end up being one of the most interesting budget drones currently available. And as more pilots start discovering what it offers, this tiny craft could quickly become one of the most talked about entry-level drones of the year. And again, you know, a lot of kudos to Sky Rover for coming out with this. You know, I know with the Sky Rover that I had the yellow one, it was a lot like the Mini 4 Pro. I mean, it really, you know, had the look, the feel, everything else. And again, you know, their controllers that they have, you know, they're a lot like the N3 controllers. You do need your phone with that, so you do need to download their app. Their app is very similar to the Fly app. It's very intuitive. If you know the Fly app, you'll know this app. It's very intuitive, very easy to find things. It's just, you know, it's just pretty much a carbon copy of that. Now, you know, these are made in Malaysia, just to let you know. And, you know, I'm not going to get into the whole thing with the FCC on this and all that kind of good stuff. These are available. They're for sale. You can buy them out on Amazon. They have a, you know, that policy that I just read to you. You really can't go wrong with that. So definitely you want to click on the link in the description and get that. If you're looking to get an under $300 drone, it's really the Mini 4K with obstacle avoidance is what it is. And it has a little bit of a better battery life. It's under 249 grams. You know, there's no reason not to get a drone like that. It just really kind of stands out. Okay. But no, they're made in Malaysia, just to let you know, where the other Sky Rovers are made from. Okay. All right. Oh, this is kind of funny here. Okay. What we do, just a little segue here. You know, we eat dinner and then we come in here and we'll watch something like episodes of The Office, you know, that kind of thing after dinner till it's time for the show. Or tonight, the Panthers game, and I watched part of the Panthers game. But Valerie gets her moo on, okay, at night. This is funny. This is absolutely funny. There's Ron. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Hello, Bill. Hello, people out in chat. How's everybody tonight?
Doing good. I'm just relating a humorous anecdote here. Okay, you know, we're in the room here watching TV before the show. Okay, and Valerie has on her robe and, you know, her night clothes and everything. And I joked with her. I says, you know what? You sit there long enough, you're going to end up on Rotor Talk Live. Okay, if you're sitting on the couch. And the other thing is, pretty soon I'm going to be doing a calendar of Valerie in all of her different moo-moos. She has several of them. She really likes being warm. Okay, she's all about that. And the warmer it is, the better it is, and more bonus points for me. So, talking about the Sky Rover drone that's out, Ron. It's
the S1 or the X1?
The S1, and okay. You know, incredible price, incredible features, incredible guarantee by Sky Rover on that. It's what's not to like about that.
Yeah, I mean. And what is the S1? That's the more affordable version, right?
Right. That's the more affordable.
And a lot of people think that this DJI Lito, if it ever comes out, the Lito is going to be like the DJI branded version of the Sky Rover.
You're probably right. You're probably
That's
right
a
about that.
speculation and whatever, and that's been going on for a while. Maybe a little disappointment community if it's no better than if the DJI version is the same carbon copy of the S1, but again, it's all speculation at this point.
Well, that one thing that's interesting is, and this is since the X1, they went ahead and they're offering some Sky Rover backs the S1 with US-based customer support, warranty coverage, 30-day replacement policy, giving buyers added confidence when trying a newer brand. Okay, which is that wasn't mentioned when I had the X1. So they added that on.
If the Lito drone comes in a DJI box and won't be allowed in the States and won't have any service, it'd be better off to get the Sky Rover rather than the DJI version.
That's true. That's very true. And I think we're going to be, I think with the Lito, I think it's going to be, we're going to need to buy off of our friends over in South Korea or Japan to get them when they do have them available. So
you mean the Now I'm not jumping ahead in the story, but with the impending release of the Avata 360 by DJI's own teaser in 26, you think the Lito drone now is pushed back into, who knows, well into April at this point, right?
Probably, yeah. I think
because that's they would release it right on the heels of the 360, right?
Right. Now we're going to go ahead and start doing our talking about DJI here. And the first thing that I want to talk about, and I know I keep harping on this like it's I've been talking about this for the past 3 weeks, but I still think it's important enough I want to make sure that you guys understand what a great deal this is. Okay, the Mini 5 Pro is still available on Amazon at $759. I went out there today and verified that deal is still available. If you have not gotten a Mini 5 Pro, now's your opportunity to get it. It is just an incredible deal. The price on Ron, you get a controller, a battery, and the drone. It's just an absolutely fantastic deal.
I'll give you, for instance, Bill, I bought the kit where you got, the drone, the standard RCN3 controller and the 3 batteries. And with all tax tags delivered, it was like, say, a little over $1,100 or whatever. Well, right. This deal is much better than my deal because the batteries for that drone are less than 100. So, for instance, if I bought this and added 2 extra batteries, that would put me about $959. So this is a better deal than I got from the South Korean resellers on the kit that I purchased.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and that's why I keep telling everybody, if you have not purchased it now, Amazon goes out there, they do something that's real interesting. They tell you how many units have been sold in a given point in time to try to encourage more sales. And apparently there's been like over 900 units sold on Amazon on this. It's posted out there on Amazon's website. It'll say, it kind of lights up in blue. It kind of gives you an inkling. So like so many people bought that within the last month. Okay. 900 sales within the last month, Ron. That's pretty incredible.
Oh, well, right? That praise, and it's such an incredible drone. I'm not surprised at all. It would be the drone I would recommend for anybody that wanted a mini drone or somebody that didn't want to pay over $1,000. Hey, there's a little, Bill, can I hijack the show just for a second? There's a comment that USA Drone Flyer. What's behind me is this is the album called The Beatles Rock and Roll. Now it was released after they broke up. It came out somewhere in the mid-70s, and actually it's a Capitol release, not an Apple release. And it's even a gatefold where it has this. You can tell what era it came out, Bill. Remember around the time in the mid-70s when Happy Days was big and America eating all the old rock. So they tried to play this into that image with the old kind of like, diner cover there. And now this album, of course, it was released and it never came out in CD. The album's been long out of press. The only place you could buy this album is a used record store or eBay or something. I don't know if they printed it. They definitely haven't printed the album since the CDs came out. And again, it never appeared on CD streaming. You can't get the same words. And some of the versions of some of the songs are different mixes than any place else. So it's kind of
So
a
it's
nice.
not even available on. You can't even go out there and download it.
Oh no! A lot of these these like re things from the 70s, especially from Capitol. It's another Beatles album called Love Songs that came out about a year after this, saying deal double. It's a double album of things, and never come out on any other media again. So these are nice kind of time capsules. This was Capitol Records again, which was the American arm of the Beatles. Apple Records kind of cashed in the 70s or whatever. And John Lennon hated this album cover. He volunteered to design the album cover himself. That hated it so bad when they presented it, let him see it or whatever. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
that's incredibly interesting.
Yeah. So
wow.
Again, it's one of those things I mean, and this is I didn't rebuy this for the collector. I bought this with my own money when I was like about 16 years old in the mid 70s or whatever. So this
wow,
was, this isn't something I picked up as a collector's item. I bought this, and it's in real good shape. At that era, I was when I get an album, I was making cassettes of the albums to play in car and portable players. So the album probably didn't get played that much. Mostly, dubbed into. You remember we all had like cassette decks and so on.
Right? Yeah, I copied it over on a cassette.
And a lot we made our own cassettes back then because we got the album and cassettes were cheap back then. But anyhow, I don't want to disrupt the show too long. So that's what that is here. And I have some other kind of rare beat albums, not that I've collected, that I purchased, when they came out or whatever. So yeah. So anyhow, I'm going to do a whole video about that album sometime. So stay tuned. But what's going to return to our regularly scheduled programming here, as I used to say back when Bill and I were kids.
That's a great segue, Ron, and thank you. That was very interesting about the whole history of that album. I think that's great, and I would love to be able to listen to it. That's why I'm like, wow, I'd love to be able to download it, but you can't even do that. Wow.
Of course, I have I don't know how I would digitize that. I have a turntable back there, but like if I still had a cassette deck or whatever, I can make a cassette copy of it and send it to you, whatever.
Well, what you could do. I mean, if with the right cables, you can digitize something like that. You can download it onto your PC directly, and there's ways to do that. So because I know. Yeah. There's ways to do, like I have some old VHS tapes of my parents that I want to download digitally, and there's ways to do that. You need a converter box to do it. So,
and I said, there's no new songs here. All these songs are, on many albums. But again, some of the versions here are versions, like mixes that were never put anyplace else. Not all of them, but some are. That's the only place you can find certain mixes, whatever. You have to be a real Beatles collected to know the difference in the mixes or whatever. But
you're absolutely right.
You can't get another Beatles album. So again, cut the Beatles talk here before we lose half the audience here.
Well, we found some great news. The Avata 360 has a release date. In the first article
we woke up to a nice teaser this morning.
We sure did, and we're going to see that here in a minute. The first article that I want to share, and this is from Joan DJ. DJI Avata 360 is likely the last new DJI drone you can buy in the U.S. Here is why. And it's great. It's a good article by Hey Kesselou right here. Cleared the FCC deadline that shut out every other future DJI drone. What FCC approved actually means for U.S. buyers right now. And he gets all into all the technical details.
I'm going to stop you just for a second there. We just talked about the Lito. As far, again, unless it was inaccurate, we were told the Lito got FCC approval, so this won't be the last drone. It'll be the Lito.
I was going to say that's exactly what I was going to say, Ron. Yeah. That while this article is kind of like eye candy and it draws your attention, in essence it's not correct because the Lito is going to be the last.
I guess maybe they didn't consider the Lito because the Lito is kind of like what do you call it? It's DJI's budget line. It's kind of technology we've all seen before. There's going to be nothing new in a Lito that's not already on another drone.
Right. Gray market pre-orders are already live and carry real risks. And again, we've talked about that before. Drone XL's take, the Avata 360 genuinely one of the last new DJI drones American pilots will be able to buy through normal retail channels at least until the Ninth Circuit course resolves or Congress changes course. The DJI Mini 5 Pro, the Avata 360, and a handful of other products that cleared authorization before December 22nd are it. Everything DJI announces after that date stays off U.S. shelves under current rules, okay? And that's something that we do know and that we're aware of. You know, the article was just to kind of bring your attention to the fact there's going to be one of the last. It's not going to be the last, but it's going to be one of the last, okay? Because we still have the Lido and we still have the Pocket 4, okay? Those have received FCC approval prior to that date in December, so we'll still be able to purchase them. I want to make sure that everybody's absolutely 100% crystal clear on that.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, we're still going to, the first quarter of 2026, we're still getting the DJI drone. You won't be able to buy them through the DJI store because of the Uyghur Act, but they'll be legal to fly in the U.S. if you can get them through eBay. It's the second half of this year, Bill, of 2026, that we'll be sidelined from new releases.
Exactly. Now, I really can't play the clip, but I'm going to kind of move my cursor along to show because
I played it last night. Just turn the music down. I haven't got a takedown notice yet, Bill, and it's been over 24 hours since I played it.
Okay.
Just mute the music.
Yeah, let me go ahead. Go ahead.
I played the DJI. I played the DJI, whatever you want to call them, leaks, trailers for years now, and I turned the music down. I've never got anything from.
Okay,
YouTube.
So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring that up here. Share screen.
Because basically, this is a commercial, but Bill's playing. It's not somebody's content.
Yeah. This is not really. So don't get way too excited here.
Yeah, and you have to blink. Don't blink, guys. Oh, and then you got the buffering. Yeah, I guess the whole world's watching it right now, Bill. There it goes. There it goes. Everybody out there on the internet's playing this right now.
Yeah, it's like 10-second clip or 14-second clip that's taken about 3 minutes to play here.
Well, you know what, Bill? Let it buffer a few seconds. We'll come back to it after our discussion's over.
Yeah. But what's interesting about this clip, and I'm waiting for it to pop up, is we've never seen them before announce like what you're seeing right here, the name of the drone. Okay. Clearly in the teaser clip, and then also the exact date. It's coming up here too.
You're right. This is almost like for DJI, the pre-acknowledge a product this is almost like a first. It's such a hot product we can't even play the teaser.
Okay, well, due to technical difficulties,
he didn't miss a whole lot.
Technical difficulties. It did list the date. Now I'm going to go ahead and put Hi Kessel, who put an article up on Drone XL about this, and let's go ahead and do this here. Now it did say that the launch is on March 26th.
Now what day of the week is that, Bill?
March 26th is a. Let's go ahead and bring that up. That is a Thursday.
That sounds correct. Okay. Sometimes it gives those dates as a weekend, so we know that's not right. But Thursday's a day they release stuff. Okay.
And 12 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So I think that probably translates to 9 a.m. Eastern Time is kind of what I'm getting here.
Of course, we're on daylight savings time now, Bill.
Exactly. DJI's new teaser strategy reveals a deliberate shift. Avata 360 confirmed as an 8K flagship 360-degree drone launching at a global online event on March 26, 2026 at noon GMT, following a multi-week teaser campaign that names the product and specs well ahead of the announcement date. Departure from DJI's typical one-week drip approach. DJI rumors specialist Jasper Ellens called this shift 4 days ago. In his March 6 article on Drone XL, Jasper reported DJI was planning multiple teaser videos in the weeks before launch, naming March 12th as the next teaser date. He also flagged something I noticed again watching this morning's clip. DJI named the product in resolution in the very first name confirmed teaser. They've never done that before. Usually we get a blurry silhouette and a countdown here. Jasper put it plainly on X this morning. Like I told you, DJI is changing tactics. Today we see a teaser with the product of pound sign Avata 360 and 8K already named. They never did that before. Also, the launch date is mentioned 16 days early. Usually this was a week here. He's right. March 10th to March 26th is exactly 16 days. The old DJI playbook was a 1 week drip. This is something different. Above it all, see it all. 26 March 2026, 12 p.m. GMT. And then we go into what we already know about this. What's interesting here, and I found this, is they're offering replacement lenses for $50 a piece, Ron, that you can screw in. All right. Which is, I mean, they learned their lesson from the Osmo 360. Give DJI some credit for that. Okay. Battery pricing leaked at roughly, and they're doing euros here, 70 for one cell, which is cheaper than the 31.8 watt hour. Okay. There's two of the batteries listed. There's a 38.6 watt hours and a 31.8 watt hours. More capacity, lower price. The drone pairs with the goggles M3 and fits into DJI's existing ecosystem. Weight comes in at close to 400 grams, which means registration and airspace rules apply in most markets. Not a beginner drone, but for content creators who want omnidirectional 8K footage on a platform that connects their existing DJI gear, the Avata 360 looks like the obvious next purchase. DJI naming the product and resolution in the first name confirmed teaser is a direct response to the leak ecosystem that can't stop. Jasper had the name, the pricing, and even the next teaser down before DJI said a public word. So instead of fighting the leaks, DJI is joining the cycle. Release the name early in the conversation build, giving creators and media a longer runway to prepare. Above it all, see it all. And smart. It works in their favor heading into a launch where the competition is anti-gravity A1, a drone DJI clearly intends to price out of consideration before it gets traction. And I kind of want to stop here because I hope you guys watched Drone Nation last night. Ron had a great guest on, Steve. Sorry, I didn't catch his last name.
Steve Koos, I believe, is how he pronounces his last name.
Okay. And I think you said he was from British Columbia in Canada.
Yep, BC. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you know what a great conversation that was in advance of this information here.
Yeah, because he's like maybe the first person we've had on that actually has the anti-gravity A1, and he did admit he received it from Insta360, did not pay for it. So another person who has the drone did pay for it, but so yeah, it was nice to hear. It was nice to hear his thoughts on it because he definitely wasn't hard selling it like you've seen some of the influencers do.
Yeah, and I strongly encourage you to watch. If you didn't watch Drone Nation last night, watch that episode because you'll learn a lot here. All right, and Steve really kind of goes through the ins and outs of anti-gravity. And I think one of the takeaways is, and I think he mentioned it, these drones aren't meant for great distance. Is kind of what he was saying, kind of like in a nutshell, because your 360 cameras are not, go 2 miles and come back kind of thing. Okay. It's for close proximity. All right. So that's why, and he also said that it can get real sketchy. Like if you're in, if there's some trees around and other obstacles and things, so that range is really kind of limited. One of the other takeaways that I got too is that their goggles have a battery pack. I think you got to attach it on your belt or something like that.
Which previous to the goggles 3, you had to do it with DJI's goggles too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the goggles 3 was like one of the first ones to build it into like the head strap. So like the Integras, the battery I think you put in a head strap, but it was still in a cord. Yeah. So that setup's not unusual, Bill. And I saw them use it at Ken Heron drone meetup. Actually, it has like a necklace. It almost hung on a necklace. So it really wasn't as intrusive as, having it on a waist or having it hang on the side of your head or anything.
Right. But the takeaway that I got from it, from that is you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but Steve liked it, but not enough that it's going to be something that he's going to use all the time going forward, kind of a thing. Am I right in that
Yeah,
instance?
well, I mean, Steve's new to 360. He just bought the DJI Osmo 360 camera. It's his first 360 camera ever, so he's kind of new to it. And I think that's the whole thing. I mean, there are people out there that only shoot 360 video, what's with a drone or on the ground, but most people use 360 as an accessory, something that they don't, not their daily driver. So that's not gonna work
Exactly,
either.
exactly
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So, but I think one of the big things, one of my big takeaways is, you know, why not try the Avata 360 after that? Because the price point's going to be better on it. You're going to start out. I think from everything that I'm hearing about $490 for the drone itself, and because
I caution you. I saw somebody today. We don't know how much the eBay sellers are going to up
right,
not that
right,
499.
we
Like it may be 499 if you could fly over and buy it in China at a store or whatever. But buying off something, they got to make their money too on eBay.
right, and this will be a good time to put it out there. For you, those of you that your pockets are on fire because you have money in them and it's burning a hole, go out and get one. But I can tell you this, and I've mentioned this before, and I've had several people that directly thank me, and mostly for the Neo. Okay, that I went out there and I gave them this caution: wait a week, maybe 2 weeks before you go out and look at the prices from the resellers over in Japan and South Korea and China
Right,
on
because
eBay.
once there's resale, once their sales start slowing down, where
Right.
they're not selling as quick as they can put them up, they will drop the prices to move the inventory.
Exactly. So wait 2 weeks, okay? Trust me, you're not breaking any new ground. You're not like the first one on the block to have the
Every
Avata
big
360.
influencer will have the videos up way before you get yours.
Yeah, Potato Jet will have his up. Billy will have his up. Ken will have his up. That kind of thing. So you're not going to be the first on the block with this. All right. So don't worry about that. All right. Worry about trying to get a good deal and a good price. Now, the nice part about this is, and from everything that we have read before so far, is that you really can purchase very minimal type equipment here, probably batteries in the drone itself, because you already more than likely have a
If
controller
you're
that will
deep
work
into
with
the
it.
DJI ecosystem, yes.
Exactly. And
Now,
I think
if you don't own any DJI products, then the anti-gravity may look like a better buy because you don't. If you bought a DJI, you'd have to buy controllers, goggles if you want to fly FPV, and that would add up quickly or whatever. But it's cheap if you're already in the DJI ecosystem.
exactly. Ron brings up a great point here. If you already have like an M3 controller or the R2, that kind of thing, I think that's going to really help. The wonderful thing that I saw today in what I read is there's replacement lenses that will be available for at $50, which will be fantastic. And you
Though
can say,
I doubt whether there'll be another 360 camera on the ground or a drone that doesn't come with replaceable
yeah,
lenses.
and that is kudos to DJI because they learned from their mistake with the Osmo 360 not offering that on there. So because I mean, it'll happen. It's going to happen. So $50 a pop, that's worth it, and they're user replaceable. You don't have to send them off. You can do them yourself, which is absolutely great here.
I'm going to push back on you just a little bit, Bill. I had a conversation with Sean from Air Photography this week, and we talked about it. Both of us have owned several 360 cameras in the past. I think we both owned the Insta360 Spear camera that went on top of the Air 2 and Air 2S to get 360 video. I've never broken or scratched a 360 lens. He hasn't either.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a tremendous marketing campaign by Insta360 to basically convince the whole internet that everybody breaks, their 360 lenses. They don't. I'm sure a lot
I was
do,
saying
but
that,
a
Ron.
lot don't either.
Because how many years have we been flying drones, and how many times we've had maybe a less than perfect landing or bumped into something and everything, and while there may be a scratch on the plastic or something, that the lens is still fine, that there's never been an issue with that.
And the Spear even came with its own landing pad to make sure that you landed on the landing pad and not on the grass or cement or a beach or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and see, and that's a good point. I'm glad you brought up your conversation with Sean, because I think that's important for everybody to know that, just because, they're offering that, it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to use it. Obviously, it'd be great to have one on hand. Okay. But, okay, DD fellows, thank you
Yeah,
for sharing
I'm
that.
not denying a lot of people do have this problem, but just as many people don't have that problem either. I mean, even if it's 50-50, not everybody breaks the lens. I mean, if you break lenses, I don't break lenses on my action cameras. I don't break lenses on my real cameras and whatever. I'm just careful with my equipment. I don't break a lot of lenses. I'm not saying I'm better. Maybe I'm just lucky or whatever, but Sean's the same way. Sean doesn't break lenses on his cameras or whatever. Again, it's not like it's a good thing to have, but it's not like Sean at the end of the conversation, Sean said, I would not let replaceable lenses be my only buying decision on a product.
And that is so right. Thank you, Sean, for that, Ron. And Ron, that's fantastic, because you can't base your decision solely on, well, you know what, it has replaceable lenses. Boom, I'll get it. No, don't be making your decision on that. Make your decision on the quality of the product, and actually when you go out and you see the videos out there, because that's the proof of the pudding, is seeing the videos here. Now, I also have to think, and this is just me, that I think they're going to beef up the Mimo app for this. I think it's going to have a nice of enough update that is you with your Insta360 have said that the app will pre-process that video.
Well, I mean, they already had that because of the Osmo 360, land-based camera. So the app is already bumped up for the 360 video.
Right. So,
and there's a desktop component already, a desktop app too for the Osmo 360. So it'll be the same thing.
It'll be the same thing here. And that's, there's no need for them to reinvent the wheel, because they already have it. And this will be great.
It's probably like 95% the same technology they have in the Osmo 360.
Yeah, it has to be, Ron. I mean,
sure, there's slight improvements because it's 6-9 months down the road, so
right,
be improvements,
right.
But it'll be basically the same thing.
But I think there'll probably be a firmware up. You'll see a firmware update for updates to the app itself.
I'm sure the app will get more features too.
Yeah, and follow those instructions, before. And what it does is, just for those of you who haven't been in the conversation here, I just want to kind of bring everybody in and have them on the same page. You just don't, for a 360 camera, okay, you just don't like, oh, okay, it's on the SD card, plop it in my computer, load it on DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut. No, you don't do that, okay? No. You got to pre-process it, and that's why you run it through like the Mimo app or this desktop app to do that, which will make it so much easier when you import it into Final Cut or DaVinci or whatever you use to process your video.
And now if you don't have DaVinci or Final Cut, you don't need those two. You can do a complete edit just in the the DJI app or whatever.
Exactly.
You won't have all the bells and whistles, but you'll be able to put a finished video right from DJI's own software. Just like you can go shoot Action 6 video and do the whole edit in the Mimo app. You don't need to take it into Final Cut or Resolve or Premiere.
Well, I think
he places the order for the Evelyn Chan today. I guess Evelyn's doing pre-sales.
Yeah, well, no, that's for the Osmo 360. Josh got.
Oh, okay, not the.
But Johnny did say that up here a little earlier, and I'm trying to find that. Yeah, here we go. Evelyn Chan will be getting some Avata 360. She said so. So there's your connection there. And I have to say this, she has, Ron, I'll tell you what, I've never had a seller, okay? She emailed me at least 10 pictures of the box, okay? And everything, because I ordered a number of items off of her, at least 10 pictures of it and a short video clip of everything that was in the box before she shipped it, okay? How many sellers do you run into to do that, okay?
Hey Bill, find out how good Evelyn's English is. Maybe have her on as a guest sometime.
Yeah, that would probably be very, very good. Of course,
if she was comfortable enough with her English to come on, yeah.
Well, I think I would have to
admit my Mandarin's a little rusty.
I would probably have to pre-record something like that because the time difference.
Yeah, this is probably the middle of the night for her. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, she's another. I should be getting my things coming up in a couple of days, and I'm really excited about that. So, with this, all right, and the pricing, we pretty much have a great idea on what the pricing is going to be here with this. And I think, if you're in the DJI ecosystem, as we already stated here, this will not be that expensive of a purchase for you. All right. Obviously, if you want to get, and this is the route I would go, would maybe to be just buy the Avata 360 itself. And then if you need to get like a charging hub or batteries, go see Evelyn. I know she'll have them out there. Or, and Evelyn, and I'll tell you this, she has great prices out there. I'm telling you, compared to everybody else out on eBay.
She's very competitive.
She's extremely competitive with her pricing. So you definitely want to check her out. She's out on Facebook. I dropped the link, I think, a couple of weeks ago in the description from Rotor Talk to pull it. And all you got to do is message her. She sends you a PayPal invoice, and it lists everything that you ordered, the pricing on everything, and the total. Okay, it's real. It's super.
If you have any qualms, Johnny will put the good word in for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was, I also trying to thought on Avata and getting it. I mean, Bill, I only half jokingly say, well, I only need the one battery because if that flies for 20 minutes or so, what am I going to do with more than 20 minutes of 360 footage, Bill?
That's very true.
It takes hours of time to edit a couple minutes of 360 video. If I shot 20 minutes of 360 video, I'd be editing for this whole season. I'd take my spring would be over before I got it all edited.
Yeah, it would.
We talked about this briefly last night, and I think we mentioned this last week, Bill, too. I think the only thing you're going to be missing, like Bill, you intend to get it and fly it with the controller, like a standard drone. And,
right.
And like I think we mentioned last week, whatever. And when you shoot with a 360 camera in your handheld, you're not seeing it in 360. You're seeing in 2D. You don't see it until 360 until you get in the editor. But when you're flying the Avata 360 with the controller, whether it's got app in or the phone or whatever, you're seeing in 2D. You're going to be missed out on that whole immersive experience that anti-gravity advertises, that when you're up there flying around, you can look all around with the goggles and the drone doesn't move. And you can see what's around you, any direction. You can just plop the drone in the middle of the air, right? And check everything out above you, below you, to the side of you. And with us going with the 499 kit, we're going to lose that whole immersive experience of not seeing everything. Now that may not mean a hill of beans to you, Bill. But that's what anti-gravity is hanging their hat on, that they have this experience. And what we don't know, if you put the DJI goggles on, will you have that same immersive experience as people are getting with the anti-gravity? We don't know that. We won't know that until the 26th.
Well, my guess is, Ron, that we will have that same kind of experience here, because I don't think DJI would not have done something like that. Okay. The other thing is with that, all right, and this is me because I can't do that. It's just like, spatial awareness, that kind of thing. I know Marcus is kind of the same way as well. But think about this, okay? And I'll equate it in real simple terms, okay? A pilot in a regular airplane, all right? He needs to have, complete vision and awareness of his senses, okay? Yeah. Now, you can get what's called an instrument rating, where you don't even look out the window. You base all your flying on what you see in your instruments in front of you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, if you are, if you're wearing the goggles and let's say, you're looking to the side, but you're going forward, and it doesn't look right, it's like, it's really easy. I think it's a gift that be able to fly this like with goggles. Okay. Because I need to see when I'm going forward, I need to see going forward. When I'm, when I put the throttle stick back and I'm backing up, I need to know that I'm backing up, and I have that capability now, like through the Mavic 4 Pro with the sensors having their small cameras. That kind of thing. Right?
Dee may be able to back me up here, but when I was at the meetup and saw it, I think the anti-gravity, if you're looking to the side and flying forward, another little window pops up, kind of like in the DJI on the DJI controller, showing you what's in front of you. In a little window, you see what's in front of you while you're looking at the side if you're flying forward, or if you're flying backwards. You get me? That
Right,
little box
right.
pops up, showing just what you're talking about. It shows what's in the direction from you, but you can still look to the side and still see what's in front of you in that little window.
Exactly.
Kind of
Okay,
like
that's a great
DJI's
point.
technology. So
That's a great point, because you need to be aware of your surroundings at all time. Okay, and that's is being, whether you're flying under Part 107 or not. That's part of being a responsible drone pilot, is situational awareness. All right, and it's I
right,
want
because
to
of
make
the
sure.
goggles, you would technically need a spotter, Bill.
Exactly. Okay. And you definitely do need to do that. So, when you guys are doing this, somebody has to be there with you. You have to have a spotter, because they need to know where that drone is so they can relay that information to you.
Where
Because
you're flying with the
obviously,
standard controller with Avata 360, you will not need a spotter because you will have line of sight and situational awareness around you. And to my point earlier, you don't need to see in 360, record 360 video. When you walk around with an X5 or a Osmo 360, you're not seeing it in 360 when you're filming it. You're only seeing it in 360 once you get in the editor. So that's not going to hurt you, Bill, by not using the goggles as far as
right,
recording the
right,
video you want to get.
right.
Yeah,
So
DD Fellows is backing me up. It has the picture, the deal. What would you talk about, Bill? So you don't run into something when you're looking sideways.
that's a good thing. That's a
And of
real
course,
good thing.
that has obstacle avoidance. So of course, if it's not a thin branch or something like that, you'll probably be okay. What we didn't say, Bill, is I keep losing my train of thought this pretty much confirms that the Avata will not be an under 250 gram drone, and we kind of thought that it may be an under 250 gram drone for a long time now. What do you think that does to the market? Because there are a lot of people out there that will not buy a over 250 gram drone these days.
True. That's going to affect people like our friends up in Canada. That's going to affect people over in the European EU and in the UK, because they have rules regarding 249 grams and above, and it means they have to probably use their license to be able to fly that. So yeah, it's probably going to curtail some sales over there.
That could push a few sales towards anti-gravity then, right?
Possibly, but again, with anti-gravity, from what Steve was saying last night, it sounds like that range is extremely limited with the anti-gravity, where I'm not hearing anything on that. Of course, we haven't really seen anything as far as the Avata 360 is concerned, but I've got to think that they're going to have some kind of, they'll have one of the OcuSyncs on the Avata 360, and that you'll get a decent transmission range.
Yeah.
No idea what it is.
Probably the most recent one. I don't think they'll come up with a new one for the 360.
Right.
I don't know that.
Right. It's not, they're not going to reinvent the wheel for this, because they wanted to keep it within the ecosystem and to be able to use other controllers that have that OcuSync.
Yeah.
So,
Bill, I don't want to lose his comment. DD Fells made it a long time ago. I don't think you can get back to it, but he said he just recently he flew the anti-gravity drone 5,000 feet out without any loss of transmission. So not everybody's getting the same. I'm going to say getting the same mileage on the anti-gravity drone. Some people don't seem to have any problems with it. And DD has videos where he flies it way out over mountains or whatever. So maybe it's more people that fly in a heavily infested Wi-Fi area have problems. So maybe it's more interference.
That's very possible.
Than it is, signal.
Yeah, because I know if I fly, for example, in an area where there's a lot of housing and developments and things like that, and there's some Wi-Fi in there, it can kind of get a little wonky with as far as the signal strength is concerned. But if I'm flying in an area where there's not a lot of, like residential homes and things like that, that's not really a problem. I don't get any kickback from something like that. But yeah, you're right. And it all depends on your physical environment that you're going to fly in, because it's going to be different for Ron. It's going to be different for me. It's going to be different for Marcus. It's going to be different for Johnny, for everybody, because of the areas that they fly in. And and a lot of the instances, they may not have cell towers may come into it as well too, because those, just because you don't see them doesn't mean that those waves aren't there. And you have to the keep that signal rejecting it. And DJI does a great job with that with the drone. So it's a delicate balance with all that. Okay. And with the anti-gravity here, who knows as far as that's concerned. But I see a very complicated system with the anti-gravity, Ron. It seems like there's a lot of pieces, parts to that. And and I think one of the big things that they did, in my opinion, to shoot themselves in the foot is that they didn't offer a regular controller type option with that. All right. Because
Now,
I think
Didi posted he posted a screenshot that they have of the regular controller. Actually, they had the drone flying on a regular controller. So that is leaked and supposedly coming out, I believe, in June, maybe July. So that is coming. But I think we've talked about this before, Bill. They should have had that ready to go from the beginning.
Right, I agree.
Now they're going to bring this out after it's too late, after DJI has already released theirs.
Exactly. So I think we're at the end right now. And if you have any closing thoughts here, Ron, about everything.
We didn't talk about this too much, but you said about this is kind of unusual for DJI to release a teaser like this. And it is. Do you think this is good? Is this something you think something DJI should have been doing all along, announcing products kind of ahead of time and putting dates and stuff out there, or sticking to they adopt what I call the Apple method, where Apple, you don't know if Apple's released a product until the day it's released or whatever. They never acknowledge anything. So DJI followed the Apple way of releasing things rather than say the old Microsoft way. Well, Microsoft, they used to announce something a year ahead of time to come out. So do you like this announcing things ahead of time, or do you like it just to drop all on the same day?
I like it ahead of time, Ron, because it builds that excitement up. All right, and because I majored in business, that's one of the things that in marketing that you learn early on is you want to get the consumer excited about the product. You want to get them engaged with the product. So the more information that comes out before that product release, the better for the consumer here. All right. And, having specifics like date and time of the release, having some figures, just some basic specs out there, basic pricing out there, that's going to go very well for them because consumers can plan, they can budget accordingly, and they know when this is coming. They'll have an idea of that. So, it really helps engage them. And that's the whole point behind all of this. And they were kind of doing it all along, when they were using Acetalev, and then now Jasper Ellens and Igor, that was all good, but it was kind of behind the scenes. Well, this is directly up front. They're challenging
from the horse's mouth. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, and I think
Bill, I'm going to play devil's advocate on here. That everything you said is great. It makes a perfect sense. But you know what happens? And I hate to use Microsoft Apple, but how many times did Microsoft announce some big software release something that was coming in a year, and guess what? The year would come and it wouldn't be ready. It wouldn't come out. So worst thing to do is promise something, not deliver it. Where Steve Jobs won that race by walking out and saying the new iPhone's available today. He wouldn't come out and say it's available next year or available in 6 months or whatever. He would say, or see, it's available tomorrow. So that really, people kind of like when something's ready right away, and not they have to sit around and wait forever and ever, and then it gets delayed. If you never announce it gets delayed, then it's not really delayed because nobody knows it.
Exactly. And you brought up a good.
My point is, there's a good and bad to both arguments.
Right. And you know what? And for what you said, Steve Jobs and Apple set up, it's name brand recognition. Okay. Apple's coming out with, boom, well, I think one of the things with Apple is their timing has always been right around the same time each year. Okay. As far as a new phone, iPad, Macs, when all those are being released, it's usually about the same time. So you can kind of expect it. Number one. Number two, the name brand. Okay. Apple. I mean, you just say that. All you got to do is say that, Ron, it's never been easier for me to sell a product like my iPads when I would trade them in or upgrade them or anything and have to sell them on eBay. they would sell within hours, not days. I mean, they just get snapped up at the right price. I mean, and I made money on it, and I was happy. All right, that's because it's the name brand recognition. Okay, and Steve Jobs was right. He didn't need to do that because there are so many out there in terms of like YouTube content creators out in the smartphone space that they hear everything. They
Bill,
know what's going on.
we do these drone shows. We speculate. Boy, we're minor leagues compared to the Apple speculators and
Oh my
rumors.
gosh.
Those people, those people, those people are 7-figure a year people that cover Apple.
Oh my gosh, Ron. Yeah. They just like, they're insane with what they do and how they do it. I tried doing that with my Build a Technology reviewer, and I'm like, you know what? These guys are major league. I mean, I couldn't even begin to hold a candle to them.
And of course, Apple's past their heyday, whatever. I mean, there was a time, remember, Bill, in the late 90s, like Apple was down here, and Microsoft way up here, and over about 10, 15-year period.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It flip-flopped completely or whatever,
It did, and well, for several years, for at least 5 iterations, I was an Apple aficionado. And then, when Valerie and I first got married, her very first smartphone was an Apple. And then 3 years later, we ended up switching over to Samsung, and we haven't looked back since. And I have been told in no uncertain terms, there is no way we are going back to Apple. She said, do you like being happily married? Then we're staying with Samsung. Okay.
Well, I mean, a flagship phone from either company is going to be, a great purchase, whatever. And Microsoft, their biggest they missed out in mobile. Remember when our old flip phones became computers with the iPhone. Remember, Microsoft ignored the smartphone market, and that was the worst decision ever.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They could have really cleaned up, and they didn't.
Or they could have been right in there with Apple and Android. There could have been 3 big players.
Exactly, and it would have been incredible. And the more choices, the better for consumers. But okay, this is where we end up, and it's a win-win for consumers when that kind of thing happens here. Well, for me, okay, and I will say this, all right, I think my Android phone is on par with Apple's iPhone. Okay, I really do. Where I think Apple has it head and shoulders above them is the Galaxy Watch is okay, but it is not an Apple Watch, Ron. Okay, I looked at the features on those watches, and they blow this out of the water. And it amazes me that Samsung has not caught up with this, okay? How they haven't caught on. It just really kind of blows my mind away. Okay, for example, you know what Samsung's coming out now with at the end of the year, okay? I have, let me get my phone out here, okay? You guys know I have a Fold here, okay?
Right.
All right, okay? They're coming out with, it's the Fold Plus, and it has a third panel that extends out. Okay. Yeah. A third panel on it now. Okay. And it's still, you're still going to have a phone to do that, have that front screen, where you can do a lot of your stuff with. So, I mean, they're coming out with that.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt that Samsung and Android have at least equaled Apple in the cell phone market, or even surpassed it. But like we're way behind is in the smart watches and tablets. They're not even a player in those 2 fields, where I don't know why they can't level up, because they've done such a good job in smartphones.
Exactly. So,
Bill, we need to get off of all this and get on to Steeler Nation. There's a lot to talk about. Just happened the past couple of days in the beginning of free agency.
Yeah, they do have quite a bit. I think we're going to kind of save that to next week. So I think we're a little bit over the hour here. But you and I can commiserate post show,
and there'll be more official signings next week. I think all these deals were made, but I think they can't become official until tomorrow or something.
Right. So we'll definitely be bringing that up next week. Great show tonight. Thanks so much for everybody for stopping by. Circle the date on your calendar. Be watching. We may have a release party. Don't know about that. We'll going forward. We'll see what goes on with all that. But everybody, have a great rest of your week. And as always, it's a great day to fly. Take care.